We're going to be playing a new game. We got this code from Lurkit, from one of the developers. Um, the name is Inhuman Resources. Make of that what you will. But it's supposed to be a blend of like dark humor, horror, and some uh, yeah, let's try. Thanks for the sub, man. Inhuman Resources looks to be like fairly dark, puzzle solving. I haven't played it. I haven't touched it. Anytime I get a new game that I know I'm gonna stream, um, I 95% of the time I try to not touch any of the gameplay before that. With Haven Dock, oddly enough, I did kick it on just to see what it was gonna look like. Sometimes I do kick them on for the settings, audio more than anything. But this one I haven't even not at all. I've been staying clear. All right, let's kick on Inhuman Resources, a literary machination, and see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. All right. Let's see what Inhuman Resources has in store for us. Enter our name. Okay. We haven't used this one in a while. There are 3 deaths. The first is when the body ceases to function. The second is when the body is consigned to the grave. The third is that moment, sometime in the future, when your name is spoken for the last time. Damn. David M. Eagleman. Okay. The phone call. Not too familiar screeching reverberates inside your brain. Oh my god. The noise comes in waves. The pain follows suit. You try your best to ignore both, but the mere fact you've acknowledged the awful sound means it's already won. Your phone's alarm is simply much too loud to ignore. Defeated, your eyelids peel apart like sheets of rotting Velcro, blinking back a bad night's bleary haze. You lie in bed, awake, against your consent. The room is almost pitch black, save for the intermittent flashing of your phone's screaming screen. A rancid, if routine stench of unwashed bedsheets bids you a bittersweet good morning. You're home, for better or worse, mostly the latter these days. Just once you wish you'd wake up somewhere else instead. Just once you wish time would ask permission before racing ahead. But your phone doesn't care about what you want. Do. The insufferable screeching drills deeper into your skull. You throw back your dirty blankets, blindly reaching for the misgotten beast. Pick up the phone. Oh, gotta hold it. The slab of thumb smudged plastic feels comfortable in your palm. Most call the device ancient, but to you, it's cozy and familiar, like an old, if outdated friend. No oversized touchscreen, no fancy graphics card for mobile games, no constant access to G network, just a simple tool with a cute antenna that still allows you time to disconnect. You've always appreciated the old and the analog. Despite the wider world's obsession with digitized progress, there's sincerity and physicality, a warmth to an object's weight. You'll cling to this relic as long as you can. Sensible upgrades be damned. Oh. Picking up that this is further in the future than I think. They're calling even phones outdated. Huh. You have acquired old cell phone. Oh, is it because it's a flip phone? Maybe that's why it's talking about it like that? Okay. You fiddle with the phone, desperate to stop the alarm, but no matter which button you press, the shrieking will not end. That's because this isn't your alarm at all. It's your ringtone. Squinting in the darkness, you barely make out the caller's ID. It's your aunt/landlady, technically speaking. Hopefully your aunt today. The woman is exhausting enough when she isn't asking for rent payments, no matter how overdue they are. Still, should you really ignore a call from the one person still willing to support you between jobs? Let's see. Press the accept call button, or you can't deal with this right now. Hang up on her. Oh, so we already got to the multiple choice stuff. Maybe you want to get kicked out. Speaking of getting kicked out, like we're in this situation here right now in the game. So I think we press the accept call. Because either way, if we ignore her, we're more likely to get kicked out if we ignore her, even if we don't have the money. So I'm gonna accept the call. Static crackles as your obsolete cell phone struggles to connect. After a sharp click, you mumble a hesitant hello.
Así mi clamo.
Hey there, sweetie. Sorry for calling you out of the blue. Hope I'm not interrupting lunch. Oh, it's already late in the afternoon, too. Okay. The scratchy facsimile of her bombastically condescending voice greets you on the line's other end. No mistaking your dear auntie. But what's this about lunch? You flick on the light and glance towards your microwave's LED clock display. A shameful number stares back from the room's abyss. 1:29 p.m. You wince and make up a half-baked lie, pretending to talk with your mouth full. Your aunt doesn't seem to buy it. Oh, no. Well, I'm sure you're very busy with job applications today, so I'll get straight to the point. Do you have any idea when you'll be able to send me last month's rent? I know money's been tight lately, but it's already the 31st. One missed payment is bad enough. But two? Shit, landlady it is. You feel yourself deflate, glancing to the tower of rejected job applications, standing proud and precarious upon your messy desk. The top sheet almost grazes your modest apartment's ceilings. Your aunt suggested to print each refusal, claiming they make your eventual hiring all the more rewarding. You found that harder and harder to believe, ever since the letters started to outnumber the dollars in your bank account.
Así mi clamo.
Sweetie, do you have some kind of estimate for me? I would really need an answer today. You have no choice. Beg for more time to pay again. Oh, shit. Well, this might as well go coincide. If we lied to her that everything is under control, that coincides with us just not answering the call, right? So I said it from the get-go. If we answer, we can at least try to ask for more. So we're gonna keep down that. We're gonna keep down that path. Okay, so we're gonna do the beg. We have no choice. You swallow your pride. It goes down easy. There isn't much left. Ooh, a typo. For the 100th, 1,000th, millionth time, you swear to send your aunt the money the second you get a steady paycheck. Until then, there is no way you can conjure cash out of thin air. An uncomfortable silence lingers over your phone's speaker. After several torturous seconds, a disappointed sigh comes through.
Tomó saca.
Sweetie, I let you rent that place to give you a second chance, not to keep enabling this shameful, do-nothing behavior of yours. Can we send her a picture of the stack of rejections? Granted, how well are we doing in our interviews, right? Like, are we actually trying? Okay, let's see. So, have we really tried to get a job? Have we been, like she says, just a do nothing, kind of just going through applications for the sake of saying we got a job? You know, people out there in the world, like, you know, do get a job because they're required to by law, you know. People that are like on probation and all that get a job, and then within like a month, oh well, you know, it didn't work out, and then here it goes again. Because I've known people who actively told me they did that. So which one are we? Are we just don't interview well, or do we just not care?
Jimena Gomi.
Honestly, I'd be more than willing to forgive delays if I knew you were actually trying, huh? But you can't expect me to believe that you've been pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and giving this job hunt all you've got when you've been living in a pigsty for the past year. I see the ant knows. Pigsty. You deflect the woman's accusations, blabbering in a desperate denial. But as your eyes drift over to the sorry state of your apartment, your ramblings soon turn to tragic silence. Fuck, she's right. You've been immune to the stench for a few months now, but no amount of time will ever make you blind to the altars of wretchedness your neglect has erected. On the floor, crumpled stacks of crusty laundry, littered with the unmopped ground like landmines on an active war zone. At your desk, fly-swarmed styrofoam containers amalgamate themselves into awkwardly unstable modern art installations. Sell them. Your largest one can only be referred to as the Leaning Tower of Takeout. In the kitchen, filthy cookware overflows from your sink. Bathed in rancid dishwater, a layer of film has formed on the surface, thick as the crust on a creme brulee. And even in your fridge, the outdated contraption hums like a thermonuclear lawnmower, even though you know damn well it's not keeping anything cold. Maybe ketchup packets, if you're lucky. Ooh. Pigsty or not, there's no denying that this whole unemployment business has been taking a serious toll. One that's gone on long enough for your aunt's pity to become well-deserved contempt. Agreed.
Sigama no suku.
Well, what do you have to say for yourself? It's not your fault those stupid companies won't hire overqualified geniuses. She's right, you're scum. Worse than scum, she should just evict you and get it over with. You're sick of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. Can't someone else pull them for you? Fuck. See, I don't know enough about myself to answer this properly, but it sounds like we're just not trying when you look at the state of the apartment. And she said we lived in a pigsty for the year before. What exactly does she say? Forgive you when job hunt all you've gotten when living in a pigsty for the past year. So, I mean, she's right. I'm gonna go with the middle option. We're gonna go middle here. She's right. You throw yourself into a dramatic tirade detailing your utter lack of worth, the hopelessness of human existence, and the filthy trash strewn ditch you deserve to die in, preferably alone. By the time your aunt gets in a word edgewise, your face is slick with tears and mucus, your heart tied into painful knots.
Así mi clamo.
Enough. I'm sorry, all right? I didn't mean to be so harsh. Now calm down, please. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. It sounds like she's begging out of irritation than out of worry for your well-being. But you listen nonetheless, taking time to control your breathing and wipe away strings of snot. The phone crackles with warbled noise as your aunt lets out a groan.
Imena gomi.
Good grief. I know this mental health nonsense you keep talking about is a big deal, but you have got to get it together and take action somehow. You can't just keep using mood swings as an excuse to escape responsibility. That choice will get you nowhere. Kind of trying to listen to us again. You have acquired clinical depression. Oh, we gave ourselves a status. You brace yourself as the woman prepares to deliver her most frequent, most frustrating spiel. You could probably repeat it word for word, if you were ever held at gunpoint.
Matani.
Remember, sweetie, in our world, choices matter. The big ones and the small ones. We can't always take those decisions back, and we can't control their consequences either, which means we have to choose carefully. You most certainly have not been doing that, but if you have any intention of getting yourself out of this mess, you need to start making the right decisions, and soon. Excuse me. We basically just got our first tutorial. Decisions matter. This is the tutorial right here. You hang your head and nod, gulping down your last trickle of self-respect. Hearing the speech frequently doesn't make it any easier to hear.
Penda vachuku.
Anywho, enough of that. The real reason I'm calling is because I might have an opportunity for you. You can tell by her inflection she means a job opportunity. Your reaction is practically Pavlovian. You salivate at the thought of your unrelenting financial woes finally coming to an end. You grip the cell phone tighter, aching in anticipation.
Sigama no suku.
See, there's this problem employee at our company. He works at one of our local branches, right next to where you live. But the man has a terrible attitude and is even more terrible when it comes to, well, whatever it is you think we do over there. Oh, she's not telling me. So I don't get to know. Nice. You picture her limply waving a wrist in some vague, dismissive manner. More of the highly confidential stuff she can't share, but brags about anyway. Not that you're entirely sure what your aunt actually does for a living, to begin with. Something to do with human resources, maybe.
Enjo kateme.
Needless to say, we'll be laying off the little sourpuss as soon as a fitting replacement is found. But we need that replacement fast. Company has a big business deal coming up. We can't afford to be short on staff right now.
Moja tampipe.
Luckily, I happen to know a certain someone in dire need of a job. At this point, and this position happens to be entry level. No major qualifications needed. It even comes with a sterling letter of recommendation from yours truly. Now, this won't be an easy job. Supervisors are very strict and the anxiety has a way of following you home. But so long as you nail the interview, you're basically guaranteed stable income for as long as you need it. Smyrna Corp isn't prone to random layoffs. Ooh.
Shakuni jata.
So, how about it, sweetie? Shall I schedule something for you? Have her set up an interview pronto, politely decline. You'd rather be poor than deal with it. No, we want a job, especially after the what you just told us. This could probably be an ending right here. Actually. But we don't want that. Or she'll go into a thing or or I'm gonna kick you out and so on and so forth. But I don't wanna play with like, oh, then we'll try again after. I don't want to do that. So we'll have you set up the interview. High stress environment or not, it beats homelessness by a country mile. You agree to the offer with ravenous insistence. The woman breathes a sigh of relief and lets out a nervous laugh. It almost sounds like she's in ecstatic disbelief. I told her we were going to get better. All right. So she's in disbelief that we actually said yes.
Enjo kateme.
Thank goodness. You have no idea what it means to hear you say that, dear. You're literally saving my life. Given what read on the game, she might literally mean literally. You should probably be the one telling her that, but you won't complain about receiving gratitude instead of judgment. For once. Without missing a beat, your aunt hammers her computer keyboard, drafting you an email. You clamber your way out of bed, tripping over day-old takeout and mounds of dirty underwear as you rush toward your laptop. Oh, we have a laptop. I'll be damned.
Jimena Gomi.
I've booked the earliest appointment I could possibly find. You should get an email with the time, address, and job description soon. Be sure to read everything carefully and do not be late. Mr. Burgard will skin me alive if I send him another unpunctual idiot.
Shakunijata.
Oh, and make sure not to mention that whole depression nonsense during the interview. It might make Mr. Burgard think he needs to fix you. Ooh, fix you. Rather than offer answers, your aunt whispers farewell.
Bijmatani.
Good luck, sweetie. I hope you'll forgive me for this someday. The line goes dead silent, save for a droning dial tone. You get an urge to call her back, but the ding of an invitation appearing in your inbox catches your attention first. Uh-oh. Your interview is today at 4 p.m. sharp, no less. You curse under your breath, rushing to shower and get dressed. Your stack of rejection letters gets knocked over by your charge and scatters across the room in a whirlwind of standard issue responses. You beg with every fiber of your being not to come home with a new failure to add onto the pile. Damn. Liking the narrative for this. This is really good. Like I'm feeling a little bit of what like the character could be feeling. Like I can put myself in the character's shoes more and more as I'm going through this. Chapter complete. Proceed to the waiting room. The packed full city transit bus comes to a creaking stop, right in front of an old building you've never seen before. Shoving your way past crowded commuters, you step onto an empty sidewalk. The vehicle roars away, fading into the misty afternoon and leaving you utterly alone. You briefly wonder if getting off here was a mistake. You review your aunt's documents, poring over the civic number, street name, and postal code, as though every character were the cipher to some secret code. By the time you finish your third revision, you're forced to concede this must be the right address, but it's not remotely what you expected. I'm the same way anytime I'm going to somewhere new. I will reread the address. I will double check the GPS 3 times, 4 times before I even like actually hit the start button. And I'll go to the original document that showed me the address. I'm the same way. Like it's a cipher. Nestled between two gleaming skyscrapers sits a much smaller, much stranger building. There's the unnerving facade. Glazed gray brickwork and pale veined marble unite to form a vast web of extravagant monochrome patterns. But despite all the detail, the sum total still gives off a sense of cold, calculated purpose. Almost like an anarchic graffiti artists were hired to redesign a palliative care center. The decorative windows, as you climb the front steps, a set of circular gold-tinted portholes stare down at you. They are unblinking, like the eyes of a giant deep-sea squids. The gloss is too opaque to see through, yet you suspect someone is on the other side, watching you approach. The massive front gates, made from half-ton hunks of glistening cast iron. The double doors have been decorated with an intricate bas relief of skyscrapers swimming in fog. But a bit ironic for such a stout little edifice. and the bronze door knocker. The alloy been smelted into the shape of a The alloy's been smelted into the shape of a crowned king's severed head. The object looks so realistic, you're scared it will be warm and wet to the touch. Unfortunately, you see no keypads, handles, or ID scanners that would allow for easier entry. The local branch of Smyrna Corp is only 4 stories tall, yet feels impossibly imposing. It's caught between outdated aesthetics and timeless sensibilities, somehow both outrageous yet invisibly subtle, as if meant to be forgotten at a passing glance, and to haunt those whose gazes linger. You suspect you may be underdressed. Your clothes aren't filthy, of course. If anything, they're rather chic, or at least they used to be. Neither time nor depression have been kind to your apparel. For all the class your best outfit once had, overuse has worn it down to a discolored, threadbare husk. Meanwhile, lack of money, motivation, and belief you're worthy of nice things has prevented you from buying new clothes for the better part of 2 years. Damn. Regardless of what you've got, will have to do. The hour of your interview approaches, and you won't have cash to afford a better suit until this job is yours. Reach for the knocker and bang it against the door. The bronze object booms against the iron gates, even harder than your thumping heart. Moments later, something clicks and a latch comes undone. The doors groan themselves open, inviting you inside. You step into the building and are greeted by what seems to be a 5-star hotel's reception area. Ooh. The room is utterly massive, with high ceilings that would rival a Renaissance church's cavernous belly. Its windows let no sunshine through, and no fluorescent light bulbs fill it with their pale glare. There are just low-hanging chandeliers and an array of green-glassed banker lamps bathing the room in burnt orange. Upholstered sofas and coffee tables dot the space like islands, forming a winding path that leads to the room's distant depths. There, a woman standing behind a desk, flanked on each side by grillage elevators. The sharp machine gun clatter of her mechanical keyboard echoes across the room. You appreciate the old and analog. The Smyrna Corp's apparent fondness is downright ridiculous. Hopefully the receptionist won't feel the same way about your subpar outfit. Pretend to be confident, stride like you own the place. If we approach with confidence, they might try to catch us off guard. Well, the aunt said she gave us a glowing review, like a glowing recommendation. And our aunt works here. We're trying to... When we see analog things, we like it. I think that would give us confidence, like, oh, this is actually, you know, I'm in my element, right? Depression is killer, but right now we're fighting against it. All right, let's go pretend. We'll go pretend. With a little luck, it'll read as self-assurance instead of total fucking delusion. The dim lighting becomes dimmer the further you go, and thick shadows close in on you like claustrophobic walls. Wall-to-wall carpeting squishes under your feet, and an unfamiliar ammonia aroma assails your flared nostrils. Whatever they used to clean the place smells strong enough to double as a bioweapon, but still isn't enough to erase the lingering stench of cigarette smoke. The off-putting odor does suit the outdated decor, however. except for those unsettling sculptures carved into the room's concrete support pillars. Disturbing shapes that assail you from all sides, emerging from the shadows like pretentious interpretations of 21st century demons. On your left, headless, nude bodies are contorted in pain as veins sprout through their skin like a tree's sprawling roots. Well, this is going to dig into our confidence. Fudge! On your right, a bleak rendition of what you assume to be Babel's Tower has been built out of steel girders, electrical wiring, and bones. Is it Babel or is it Babel? I never know. That's why I paused. Up ahead, you see human skulls whose scalps have exploded, revealing interwoven helixes of DNA strands and a binary code. So it's like, with like the thing coming out. Oh. What happened to good old-fashioned gargoyles? Unsettled by your surroundings, your eyes drift back to the woman working the reception desk. There are letters engraved on the wall above her, spelling out a slogan in twinkling silver font. Memori perpetuitas mutatio. What is that? Memory? Perpetuity? What is mutatio? And like evolution? Mutation? Evolution? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. You don't know much about corporate branding, let alone Smyrna Corp's specific suite of services, but you're not sure how effective that cryptic slogan must be. Adaptability, maybe. Mutatio, adaptability. You hope your aunt's documents have provided insight. Instead, they were mostly full of vapid statements about connecting modern business with industry-leading talent, or some such variation of the standard corporate tripe. You wave hello to the receptionist, but she doesn't even flinch. Her gaze remains glazed over, wholly focused on her work. She's younger than you first thought, maybe 30. Likely not quite. Sickly pale, with sleep-deprived bags under her eyes, each one darker than the acrylic on her tidy black turtleneck. Her hair is knotted into a dainty bun, her fingers devoid of polish or rings. They move across her keyboard like demented tap dancers. Wait, no, not her keyboard, her typewriter. It's a really, really old one, made from brass, black plastic, and way too many moving parts. A relic from the 1800s that looks like it barely scraped through both world wars. And you thought your laptop was getting old. Or our phone. There's also a small desk lamp glimmering on the counter. Maybe you should, or desk bell, sorry. Maybe you should. She's a secretary, not a Victorian era maid. To say hi like a normal person. Now, if we waved and she ignored us, she's waiting for us to ring the bell, right? Seems like they do things a very specific way here. We're gonna ring it. We're gonna ring it. A pleasant ding resounds like clinking champagne glasses. The woman's head snaps forward as though struck by an electric shock. She flashes you a beaming, not quite pearl white smile. Oh, okay, she smiled at us. She didn't get mad. Welcome to Smyrna Corp. Do you have an appointment? That's the icon for the game. The game icon, the launcher, and that is terrifying. The words barely seep through the woman's gritted teeth. Her grin is so tight, it hurts to watch, but there's no trace of frustration. She's the dictionary definition of too friendly, made uncomfortably manifest. Unsettled, you stumble your way through an explanation of your aunt's referral. The receptionist replies with a nod, squinting as she reads the writing on her typewriter's latest sheet.
Kojuba soda.
Ah, of course, we've been expecting you. I'm afraid Mr. Burgard is running a little late this afternoon. He'll need a few more minutes until he's ready to speak with you. But you're more than welcome to peruse our visitors' handbooks while waiting. She gestures to a set of nearby couches and table chock full of company pamphlets. But you're more surprised to notice someone else already sitting there. A young man with a bitter look etched into his furrowed face. Could this be... Oh, it's the guy they're letting go. Another job applicant? I think it's the guy that's being let go. That's what I think. I don't think he's an applicant, and I don't think he's a customer either. It's a bitter look. I don't think it's either of these two. I think it's the guy that's being fired, who we're replacing. Shit, your aunt never mentioned competition. And if they turn out to be competent, you could be in big trouble. Your bleak musings are cut short by the receptionist's unpainted nails tapping at her name tag.
Pasok kami.
I'm Melusine. By the way, I'll call you as soon as Mr. Burgard becomes available. In the meantime, please let me know if you have any questions. Welcome back, ho! We're getting drawn into this. We're getting drawn in, Susie. With a grateful, albeit embarrassed nod, you walk away and slump into an old-fashioned sofa. Melusine's rickety typewriter clacking away once more. The couch's cushion feels quite stiff. Or maybe your stress-clenched back does. Considering the ferocious stare down you're receiving from the stranger seated across you, it could well be the latter. All right. The steady tick of a vintage clock draws your gaze. Its hands point in opposite directions. 3:42 p.m. 18 minutes left. Good thing you came early. You still have time to prepare before your interview, but probably not enough to do everything you want. You'll have to decide where to spend it carefully. So read through those pamphlets and find out more about Smyrna Corp. Melusine said she could answer a few questions. Why not take her up on the offer? Strike up a conversation with the irritated man. Maybe you can learn something from him. There's a magazine on the coffee table. Give it a closer look. I think we talked to Melusine. Pamphlets are going to be standard, right? What everybody sees. Maybe from her reactions we get to learn something, and from the stranger. But if they ask us questions about the company and what they're about, pamphlets might be the better. God, I wonder how many they're going to give us. 2? 3? I don't think they'll give us 3. Talking to the irritated guy. Because I want to confirm that he's the guy getting fired. I need to confirm this. But I want to do the pamphlets first. Yeah, we need to find more about... Yeah, we do. Because we wouldn't know what questions to ask her. But let's do this one. You snatch a brochure that seems to cover the most interesting topics, hoping it'll contain some hints about your future 9 to 5. Smyrna Corp, your guide towards success in a post-truth future. You're mildly disgusted by the amount of insipid buzzwords featured on each page. The whole thing reeks of hyperbole and less whiff of self-congratulation, but at least it was somewhat informative. Plus, this company seems way more prestigious than you expected. The salary must be pretty decent. 3:51 p.m. You still have a few minutes left. Maybe enough to extract information from one of the other people in the room. But what could we possibly learn from him? I don't want this one. I don't care about the magazine. Well, there's like an article, like oh my god, have you read this about Smyrna Corp? That could be something in the magazine. So, for those watching, because actually I like all three options. I'm pretty sure the irritated man is the guy getting fired and not somebody applying and not a customer. I think he's the guy that I'm replacing. So we could learn what we can from him and to why he's leaving or why he's not doing a good job, right? Or we could talk to the receptionist who said we could ask her a few questions, but we don't really know what questions to ask. So maybe we could kind of like guide her to like give us information, but I don't know what information I'm looking for because we don't even know the job. And the last one is, what if there's some kind of like expose or something? Like that's the word I'm looking for, expose on the company in the magazine. So receptionist, the guy that we think or we have to select what potentially was a customer, or another applicant, or the magazine. I'm not even gonna roll. I'm gonna pick this one. Time to break the ice. Hopefully it won't be the very thin ice you seem to be standing on with this guy. You take a seat next to the stranger, introducing yourself with a smile. Rather than ease the tension, the man scowls as if you were a clump of dog shit clinging to a shoe. His snarling voice sounds coarser than a poorly maintained gravel driveway. The hell do you want? Can't you tell I'm not in the mood? Well, if you couldn't tell before, you certainly can now. You gulp audibly, worried this person might assault you at a moment's notice, but as you stammer out some vague apologies, you notice something surprising. He doesn't look at all angry, let alone angry at you. In fact, he mostly looks fretful. The man's callous hands aren't balled into fists, they're kneading each other with relentless worry. Sweat beads at the temple of his receding hairline, wearing down the gel, matting down his tar-black locks. One of his legs shudders visibly, its foot tapping the floor with the breakneck tempo of a meth-addled punk musician stomping a drum pedal. He reminds you of Melusine. He has the same not quite 30s face, some darkened, baggy, tired eyes, same snug black turtleneck, kept tidy as a military uniform, and his name tag reads Emiliano. Wait, name tag? It hits you. Then that Emiliano isn't a company client nor a prospective candidate after the same job you are. He's a Smyrna Corp employee. Look, pal, all your staring is gonna give me a fit. Either speak up or back off, alright? Your aunt warned you how stressful this place was. Best leave him alone. Be compassionate and ask if there's anything wrong. This is your chance to learn from someone with first-hand experience. Ask him what his job is like. If I tell him that I'm there for a job and he's worried about being fired, this is not going to go well. I don't want to leave him alone because this is one of my precious opportunities. So we're going to be compassionate, see what we can learn. For you, the hardest part of job hunting was always the impression of powerlessness combined with a feeling of tremendous isolation. Even one person who could sympathize with your woes would have been a godsend. But this guy only reads your empathy as an insult. Fuck.
Dune, Jacoda.
Are you brain damaged, or are you just actively trying to screw with me? Seriously, if I'm getting laid off from the worst job I've ever had, why the hell would I want to get cheered up about it? Heck, if it weren't for this shitty exit interview, it'd be the happiest day of my life. They have a hard time picturing this being happy, but no trouble whatsoever imagining why the man was fired. Then suddenly you connect the dots. Way to take forever, man. This must be the problematic employee your aunt was talking about. You cringe so hard your jaw aches. Offering to make someone feel better right before stealing their job is a level of awkward tension you weren't prepared for. Trying to recover from embarrassment, you change the subject to this exit interview, which seems to be causing such strife.
Battebamo.
Must be pretty new to Smyrna Corp if you're asking me that, huh? Look, if they just wanted to tell me no hard feelings or ask how management could have done better, I wouldn't have a problem. But these bastards don't work that way. Every person I've ever seen get called into one of these meetings comes out looking like a walking corpse. And I don't blame them one bit.
Bone, Mateku.
Honestly, I'd rather get castrated than go into that meeting. At least then I could bring my balls back home in a pretty little box. And it'd send a loud keep out message to whoever they've called to take my place. Oh, I knew it was a good idea not telling him why we were here. Or maybe he could have warned me. Fuck. Well, it sends some kind of message. Still, despite the crudeness of his metaphors and the stink of booze on his breath, you sense Emiliano's fear runs far deeper than unemployment. In fact, you get the feeling he wants to protect the person who'd be taking over his job. Should you reveal your identity? Oh, shit! Shit! Dang it, I didn't want to have to come to this part. That's why I avoided the other one. Fuck. He clearly doesn't want anybody to help him. He doesn't care. Let's see what his warning is. Let's ask him for the warning. Fuck it, we're here. We couldn't avoid this, so let's steer into the skid. After making sure the receptionist isn't eavesdropping, you whisper the truth into Emiliano's ear. His already bulging eyes grow wider as he realizes why you're here. Rather than appear relieved by your presence, you suddenly sense he's deathly afraid of it. Oh shit.
Temoku.
Not messing with me, are you? You're really here to work at Smyrna Corp? You nod, briefly explaining your precarious financial situation and assuring him you meant no offense by applying for a livelihood he'll soon be deprived of. But the booze breath man doesn't seem to register a single word you say. Rather, he interrupts you by leaning in so close, the surface of your respective eyeballs practically kiss. Oh my god. Eye to eye. And the aunt told us that she hoped we would forgive her for this one day.
Battebamo.
Listen to me, it's too late for you now. The moment you walk through that door, your chance to escape disappeared. But what you can do is lessen any damage those bastards will make you inflict.
Bone, Mateku.
The guy who's going to interview you regard, if your application satisfies him, he'll ask you to go through an evaluation, a questionnaire that's meant to give you a taste. Oh my god, I can't read right now because I'm excited of the work we really do around here. I can't tell you more without getting up to my neck in shit. But no matter what happens, you've got to do everything in your power to fail that test. Okay? Wow. His plea is earnest and full of desperation, yet it's also patently ridiculous. Why would you purposely flop this probatory evaluation when you're in dire need of a job? And what does your onboarding have to do with Emiliano's firing? Anyway, it doesn't make any sense, yet it doesn't stop the man from begging even harder.
Gochaseko.
You idiot! Do you not understand the kind of consequences this could have? This might just be a paycheck to you, but to me, it could mean life or literal death. You've got to fail that test. This is beginning to sound less like a warning and more like a threat. And judging by the alcohol-tinged spittle splattering your cheek, it's not an especially sane one. Better cut this conversation short. Bluntly tell him you can't afford to flop this evaluation no matter the consequences. Lie to him, tell him you'll definitely fail the exam on purpose, and move away slowly. I'm gonna tell him I just can't. I can't fail it. You don't want to make him suffer, but even your aunt's patience. God dang it, Gecko! We were having a serious moment. Welcome in, dude. You don't want to make him suffer, but even your aunt's patience has limits. Without a steady pay, you could end up on the street, and the only way to prevent that is by getting hired to replace this guy. Yet as soon as you say this, Emiliano grabs your collar. Ropes of slobber paint your face as he begins to scream. Oh my God, what are we getting into? Very serious moment, and I'm wearing a poop on my head. How you doing, Gecko? Hope you've been good, dude.
Gocha seco.
Replace me? You want to replace me? You maniac? Do you have any idea what that means in a place like this, huh? Do you? No, you don't. Nor do you know how to escape the man's increasingly vicious, vice-like grip. No matter how much you struggle, Emiliano isn't letting go. Working currently, had to cover a shift tonight. Oh, dude, how many hours you working for the week? Whimpering, you cry out loud for someone to save you. Against all expectations, a booming voice actually answers.
Come baden.
Mr. Aguilar, that's enough. Emiliano drops you instantly. His heels click as he turns to face whoever shouted, like a soldier awaiting inspection. In your peripheral vision, you see Melusine do the same, though her gesture is much faster and much more practiced. You, meanwhile, are on all fours, gasping for air and gagging on the smell of ammoniac cleaner. Never has the taste of chemicals ever been so sweet. You turn to thank your savior, only to choke on your breath once more. Standing in front of the elevator is, without exaggeration, the most massive man you've ever seen. He's taller than a fridge, twice as wide, and perhaps thrice as heavy. The pure white of his immaculate dentistry contrasts with his dark skin, which reflects the room's dim light like finely chiseled onyx. Beneath the perfectly tailored patterns of his elegant tweed suit, muscles shift with every breath, threatening to burst through the seams. His pale blue eyes focus on you as he speaks with a voice like velvet thunder.
Notice amini.
Friend, you have my humblest apologies for my subordinate's inexcusable behavior. I'll be more than willing to discuss potential compensation if you deem it necessary, regardless of our interview's outcome. Interview, huh? This must be Mr. Brigard, your soon-to-be boss. Luck willing. The ding of an elevator is suddenly heard, and one of the grillage doors by the reception desk creaks open. The tweed behemoth sidles his way onto the shaft, packed tighter than tuna in a too small can. He beckons you to join him with a bratwurst thick finger.
Come baden.
Come along now. We're already behind schedule and can't afford any more delays. What's more, I frankly cannot wait to discuss your future with us here at Smyrna Corp. Holy shit, he thinks you have a future. In that moment, Mr. Regard's big, beaming smile is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Oh, we'll see how long that's gonna last. Thank him and slip into the elevator. Well, thank you, Mr. Brigard. Thank you. It's a tight fit, but you manage to wriggle yourself into the lift by nuzzling up to your, hopefully, future boss. You apologize profusely for the cramped conditions, but he just laughs it off.
Home baden.
No need to be embarrassed. Happens all the time. Oh, and no need for all this Mr. Burgard business either. First name basis is fine by me. Before the elevator door can snap shut, someone opens their mouth and screams.
Dune, Jacoda.
Oh boy! Wait! The angry-looking man you were worrying about suddenly drops to his knees, hands held together in prayer. Any aura of danger that once clung to him has been displaced by his blubbering supplication.
Dune, Jacoda.
Sir, I'm begging you, just give me another chance, I swear. I'll do anything. I'm paid overtime. I'll work on weekends. I'll kiss your goddamn shoes if I have to. Just please don't replace me. Mr. Burgard's only reply is a disappointed sigh. His bright white smile wavers. Intangible contempt taints his otherwise welcoming tone.
Kimau Hone.
Mr. Aguilar, you've had more second chances than I can count. And displaying such undignified desperation in front of a candidate set to take over your position is not an endearing choice. Frankly, there's nothing more I can or want to do for you, beyond offering the standard company-issued severance package. The once intimidating stranger collapses as though shot in the chest. His body ripples with hiccuping wails, his fist powerlessly pounding the carpeted floor. Your maybe future boss clicks his tongue, more disappointed than disturbed. He turns to give Melusine a firm look and firmer orders.
Notice Amini.
Miss Saint Sains, please ensure our former staffer behaves until his offboarding is complete. Will you? I'll attend to him once I'm done with our guest. The tired woman gives a nervous nod, rushing back to her typewriter as if nothing happened. The clacking keys are now punctuated by the tears of a grown man. Obuya thumbs a few buttons and the elevator door finally slides shut. Through cracks in the grillage gates, you see the receptionist giving you a small wave, mouthing a worrisome farewell. Goodbye.
Mita Gamoko.
Good luck. Before you can decide whether she was cheering you on or trying to warn you, the floor lurches downwards. Proceed to the interview. Oh my god! This is really good. After descending a short way, the elevator slows to a crawl, then comes to a complete stop, groaning under the combined mass of its unevenly weighted passengers. For a moment, you worry the cables have jammed. Clearing his throat, Mr. Burgard reaches over your shoulder and points to the lift's control panel.
Kudo Mijaji.
Would you do me the honor of entering our meeting room's access password? If we're going to be working here, you may as well learn how to travel across the office. Just type in do, if you please. Oh, and no need to be too brusque about it. Precision matters more than speed with these old doodads. So squiggly, double T, hook, and phyrexia symbol. So squiggly, double T, hook, and phyrexia. Ding! The interviewer chuckles as he watches you fiddle with the eclectic symbols, amused by your apparent unfamiliarity. No doubt he's used to employees entering these combinations with the routine deftness of jaded shoppers, typing in their PIN numbers during credit card transactions. You're still not sure why he's making you type the password in, nor why the elevator uses passwords in the first place. Wouldn't keycards be easier? Or normal numbers, at least? Oh man, they're keeping some stuff in here. Regardless, as the last button clicks into place, the elevator resumes its descent at an increased momentum, plunging deep into the earth. with no sign of stopping. After almost 20 seconds, you wonder if it's headed for the planet's core.
Ajubonica.
You'll have to beg my pardon for the sluggishness. I've petitioned to have this thing replaced, but the cryptology department refuses to let us invest in newer models. Potential security risks, or so they claim. Boogeyman hogwash, I say. An upgrade has been long overdue. Maybe once our deal with Radium finally goes through, they'll be a bit more welcoming of true progress, huh? You nod along politely, pretending to understand what he means. You're unsure the display looks convincing. Still, by the sounds of it, you'll be stuck here for a while. How do you kill time? Give those buttons a closer look, or ask Abuya to explain his employees' unusual behavior. He won't answer us. I mean, they're hiding something. So let's give him a closer look. Squinting at the control panel, you try making sense of the assorted icons, decorating each key, trying to intuit twisted logic linking them together. There must be some rationale informing the designs of these peculiar passkeys. Let's see. Let's take a closer look ourselves. What do we make of these? This reminds me of the puzzle in Frosthaven. Frosthaven and Gloomhaven. Oh, we can take off Poopsworth now. What is there to catch here? Double T, tall T, double S's, a pregnant S, horseshoe, 3 with the tail, a twisted V, an A, 3 with the ponytail, Phyrexia symbol, double S, hook, and inverted triangle. Huh. But what could they mean? That's the thing. Informing the design, right? It's asking me to figure out what the design is. One. Two. It could be like 12, right? It's a code. But how does it... That is so weird. I don't know what to take from that at the moment. Okay. Unfortunately, the longer you look, the less you understand what the pi symbol and the Greek omega have to do with any of those scribbles you've seen before. The bout of mental gymnastics required to even attempt drawing a clear pattern leaves you a nagging headache. At least you remember the pregnant S, the double T, the hook, and the Phyrexia symbol password Obuya gave you. In the end, you're so focused on decoding the secret behind Smyrna Corp's buttons that you're startled by Bergard.
Noticeamini.
I hope you're as excited for this interview as I am, friend. At the risk of sounding biased, I have very high expectations for you.
Kudo mijaji.
The woman who recommended you for this position, your aunt, I believe, she had nothing but great things to say.
Gawona kimo.
She assured me you were an extremely positive person with a permanent can-do attitude and exceptional emotional resilience. And that's exactly the kind of person we need more of here at Smyrna Corp. We're the exact opposite. We have depression. Our aunt is an asshole. Oh my god. You answer the giant's compliment with an awkward chuckle. Internally, however, you are screaming. You knew your aunt was bound to lie in order to guarantee you an interview, but she could have picked something more fitting for a clinically depressed shut-in who can't afford their own prescription. Yeah! Oh my god, she fucked us. As you force yourself to smile through an impending panic attack, the elevator comes to a grinding halt, its grillage door sliding open. Squeeze your way out of there. It's a bit of a battle to wriggle past Abuya, though you soon find yourself free of the claustrophobic lift and breathing a bit easier. Mr. Brigard follows suit, flipping a light switch to illuminate the otherwise pitch black room.
Notice many.
Welcome to my humble office. Ah, so that's what this place is. An office wouldn't have been your first guess. The rectangular space before you is reminiscent of an oversized police interrogation room. The walls are painted glossy black, glistening in the sepia glow of a low-hanging ceiling lamp. And if it weren't for the obvious two-way mirror in the back, the room would appear infinite in size, and a boundless expanse of inky shadow extending in every direction. One sec. I didn't realize this had finished. Hang on, I gotta put my tablet to charge real quick. Okay. Sorry. I always have the tower running. Usually like freaking 10, 12 hours of the day. Unless like one of the runs ends and I don't actually pay attention. A single desk sits at the room's center, made from a block of carved mahogany. Coffee stained paperwork covers its surface like some madman's wallpaper, and countless colored wires sprawl across the floor, as though the varnished wood had somehow sprung electrical roots. Leather chairs fit to dwarf royal thrones loom over both ends of the table, no doubt custom built to accommodate Mr. Brigard's colossal frame. The behemoth briskly motions you to take a seat, but you sink so far into the plush leather, it feels more like the seat takes you. What happened? My chair ate me. Prying yourself out of those comfortable depths, your eyes turn to the sparse assortment of unusual baubles decorating the table's corners. On the side, there's an antique candlestick phone, whose mouthpiece is made to look like a large roosting bat. Oh, okay. On that side, there's an old fashioned record player adorned with a gaudy gilded Smirnocorp logo. Right in front of you, there's a nameplate engraved with the words Abuya Brigard, Senior Substitution Department Supervisor. Ooh, he's in charge of getting rid of people. And scattered all over the place, there are piles of VHS cassettes, each one labeled with tags written in Latin, Farsi, or ancient Greek. The fact that we know that is impressive. The item which perplexes you the most, however, is an old vinyl record snugly wrapped in yellow keep out tape. Mr. Brigard notes your interest with an amused arch of his brow.
Notice many.
You wouldn't happen to be a fan of jazz, would you? If we say we absolutely love jazz, and that's a jazz record that they don't want me to play, like they could be more prone to hide it away, right? Whereas if I say no, not really, if I'm being honest. Let's go with not really. You had a hunch Abuya would be disappointed by your brutal honesty. Instead, his big, beaming smile warps into a cheeky grin.
Kudo mijaji.
Frankly, neither am I, but that's why I find this to be so bloody impressive. Carefully placing the confidential vinyl onto an old record player, Mr. Brigard lowers the needle and bids you to listen. A strange, somber soundscape slowly fills the office with a blues inspired rhythm you can't quite compare to anything you've heard before. It's not appealing per se, but it's perhaps a little messy and eerie enough to make you uncomfortable. The duet voices of a man and woman muttering warbled lyrics only adds to the strangeness. You can't make out a word they're saying except for the chorus verse. Let's call the whole thing off.
No tesamini.
Gina and Herschel Gershwin, twins, if you were wondering. Not a couple, despite all the turbulent rumors that once surrounded their odd relationship. I've never met them myself, but I do know they could have been bigger than the Beatles back in the band's heyday. The biggest case of my career was making sure they wouldn't be, and I always found it tragic that only one of their records was left intact in the world. Though I also feel quite lucky to be the man who owns it. Few will ever have the privilege of hearing such avant garde work. So he literally killed their ability to be big. Wow. Okay. The guy said that the job wasn't what we thought it was. Interesting. You utter a few admirative oohs and ahs, feigning interest to conceal your perplexity. What does a human resource company have to do with ruining musicians' careers? And how could Abuya be employed, let alone alive, during the birth years of rock and roll? He's not that old, is he? Before you can scrutinize the man's non existent wrinkles, he promptly clears the straight documents from his desk, making space for a repulsively familiar sheet of paper. Your loathsome resume. Your loathsome fucking resume laid bare for the world to gawk at. God, you're sick of seeing that thing. Obuya interlaces his fingers, pale eyes darkening into a severe stare. You suddenly find yourself keenly aware of how dangerous the man could be, should he choose to embrace violence over verbal repartee.
Samogeto.
Time to begin our little interview. I'll be asking you a series of questions. Some will appear rather peculiar, others rather innocuous. They may be difficult to answer at times, as you've not been made fully aware of your position, nor of Smyrna Corp's company goals. However, I still request that you provide honest and instinctive responses, regardless of context. They'll give us a better idea of the role you'll be assigned during your time among us. What is. They're letting a guy go expressly because I'm coming in. So they know my role, don't they? Strange that we'll determine what role you'll be assigned if you're firing someone because I'm coming in. Like that don't add up. Wait, you have to ace an interview before being told about the job you're applying for? What a mess. Either Smyrna Corp has an unintuitive hiring process, or their non disclosure agreements are so incestuously interwoven, no one can get any work done without being strangled to death by red tape. Still, Obuya's words make one thing clear. The only way you'll get hired and earn a salary to pay the rent you owe. Excuse me. That yawn came at a bad spot. And earn a salary to pay the rent you owe is by acing this goddamn interview, no matter what it takes. Give a firm nod and reassure him you'll be earnest. Give a non-committal answer knowing you'll lie to make yourself seem employable. I'll be honest. Obuya chortles with satisfaction. The sound as deep as rumbling as a rock slide at the bottom of a well.
Notice how many.
Wonderful. Let's get started.
Tome baden.
Question 1. A runaway locomotive is barreling down a set of railroad tracks at an uncontrollable speed. In its path lay 5 people tied down and unable to move. If nothing is done, the locomotive will surely crush them and end their lives in an instant.
Kudo mijaji.
You stand in a train yard next to a large lever. You know that if you pull it, the locomotive will divert its course onto a separate track. However, this will cause it to crush a different person who is also tied down to this alternate path. How do you ensure all 6 people escape this tragedy alive? All 6. Oh, this is different. That's not quite why the where you see yourself in 5 years shtick you're used to. Usually it's you one or the other. How do you make all 6 left alive? Assuming you can operate that lever, you might also know how to remotely trigger their emergency brakes. You run fast and have untie everyone before the train arrives. Dodge the question by discussing other ethical conundrums and how they expose moral biases. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I would switch it to for it to go. Well, it does say uncontrollable speeds. So, uncontrollable speeds means brakes don't work. Nothing is done. The locomotive will surely crush them and end their lives in an instant. Graveyard next to a large lever. Divert its course on a separate track. However, this will cause it to crush a different person. Both of these are dumb answers. This isn't an option. This is a possible option. But I mean, the speed of the train it literally tells you there is no way to save all 6 people. But this is. How do you ensure all 6 people stay alive? I mean, you untie them. You flip the switch and then you untie the single person. Let's go with that one. Assuming the 6 are close enough that you'd hear the locomotive coming, you should have plenty of time. Is your confidence justified? Probably not. Are you qualified to save human lives? Not even a little bit. But it is still what you do in that situation. Absolutely. Yep. As you attempt to justify a couple methods by which you could still rescue the victims if they were bound in chains or needed to be carried to safety, Mr. Brigard cuts you off with a hearty chuckle.
Yawona kimo.
Beg pardon, friend. I had no intention of mocking your gusto. I simply admire your commitment to doing what must be done, even at a great personal cost.
Kudo mijaji.
Working at Smyrna Corp inevitably means working with the lives of other human beings, the most precious resource on our planet. If our operatives cannot push themselves to their utmost limits to help them, as you would in this locomotive situation, how are we supposed to trust them with the well-being of our most valued clients? Furthermore, if you can back up those claims with actions, as your athletic proclivities seem to suggest, I suspect you'll have the stamina to endure upper management's most demanding delegated responsibilities. Such energy and passion will be great fit for this office. So great, we already made ourselves be the scapegoat for people who don't want to do their job at the top or at the higher levels. As touched as you are by the compliment, you mostly will left wondering just how hard this company expects you to work. Yeah. Their paycheck had better be worth whatever back-breaking labor they put you through.
Ajobonica.
Your profile has changed. Physical faculty +2. Okay. Now, moving right along to question 2. Could you kindly rephrase your greatest flaw so that it sounds like your
Tome
greatest
baden.
strength? Be advised, I do not want to hear any of that cowardly, I'm too much of a perfectionist, or I'm a huge workaholic claptrap most folks use to make themselves sound flawless. I want a proper blameworthy weakness reconfigured into a proper praiseworthy strength. Understood? The behemoth leans forward, and the room's darkness looms with him. Both close in around you, like the walls of a solitary confinement cell, or the rope of an eager hangsman's noose. Better think of something good. You browse social media during work hours, but it keeps you updated on current events and tech trends. You spend too much time chatting with coworkers, but it helps you understand them and cooperate effectively. You try you often try solving problems with brawn, not brains, but you're in great shape, so it works out. That kind of leads into physical faculty again, and I don't want to be a one-trick pony. Um, I like this one. Social media, keep up on events and tech trends. I like that as an option. I don't like this one because that's just more physical faculty. I don't know, being like really, really one-sided could be beneficial to us. You spend too much time chatting with coworkers, but it helps you understand them and cooperate more effectively. This could be good if we need to learn, get to know people, which I know is part of the game. But I like the events and trends. Tech trends is good right here. I like this one. That would be me. That's a me answer. The world is a volatile place, and not just politically. Advances in computing are constantly revolutionizing the way we interact as a species on a daily basis. But staying informed online allows you to adapt or even thrive despite these changes. Has nothing to do with the fact that you have a mild internet addiction. A
Ajobonica.
wonderful response, if I do say so myself. Too often do our underperforming employees fail to consider the contexts in which our clients are placed, or the negative consequences a seemingly positive decision can have in the long term. A data driven, future facing perspective such as yours could prevent excessive occurrences of such common issues.
Gawona kimo.
Furthermore, in light of our upcoming partnership with Radium Inc., your familiarity with modern technology shall prove an invaluable asset for onboarding our, shall we say, older fashioned staffers. Oh, that might have been what we would have learned from that magazine is the we would have learned about radium, which would have led us to this answer. We would have been, oh, hey, to do the thing with radium, let's do that, right? That might have been the expose for the magazine that we might have encountered. No kidding. If he means the kind of staffers that work on typewriters instead of laptops, you'll practically need an on call doctor to keep them from having heart attacks once you teach them touchscreens exist. Snickering, says the guy with that freaking old, like, cell phone. Snickering under your breath, you prepare yourself to answer Mr. Brigard's following question.
Tome baden.
Technological literacy. Yeah, baby. Now then, onward to our final inquiry. Regarding your schooling, I would like for you to, well, if you could just explain the goodness. How do I phrase this delicately? The behemoth's words trail into muttered mumbles, his velvet thunder voice degrading into something more akin to a bumblebee stuck in a big dog's mouth. His blue eyes dart between you and the paper's underwhelming bullet points with increasingly disgusted concern, as though finally noticing what kind of unemployable aberration has stepped into this building. It's an unfortunately common reaction to anyone who reads your survey, your resume. The singers on the record player shout a loud suggestion to just call the whole thing off. Their advice, for better or worse, goes unheeded.
Kimauhone.
Well, at the risk of sounding insensitive, I truly appreciate some insight regarding your academic background. How do you believe a workplace of our nature could benefit from hiring someone with such a dubiously incompatible education? You begin sweating bullets, big bullets, the kind of caliber robot cops must use in action movies from the 80s. Of course, it was going to come down to this. No matter how dearly you wish it were possible, you can't magically go back in time and study something more prestigious for today's job market. But you might be able to describe your weird diploma in a way that makes a strikingly employable impression. You studied computer science, you're skilled with technologies, old and new. You studied ultimate frisbee, the apex of education for any teamwork loving athletic superstar. You studied child psychology. You're good at reading people and creating emotional rapports. That last one evens us out. We have tech, we have physicality. We're missing the emotional connection aspect when you look at all the questions, right? So like we don't have at the moment an ability to connect with people. We have techie, we have physical. It's giving us a third option at emotional rapport. Um, but I kind of want to lean towards the techie side. I'm gonna go tech. I'm gonna go tech. Your fondness for analog tech drove you to learn design principles of computers and the algorithms they operate by. This gives you the ability to operate most devices by instinct. Even though Smirnocorp's machinery is an antique by most standards, you'll likely learn to use it faster than most candidates. Trying to capitalize the company's obsession for the obsolete, you discuss a few obscure principles from your past seminars, explaining how binary code dates back to the 1600s or how digital computers were first designed in the 19th century, long before the advent of microchips. Mr. Burgard practically salivates as he listens to you speak.
Kudomijaji.
You have no idea how refreshing it is to meet someone in this day and age with such thorough appreciation for the inventions that paved the way for modern progress.
Gawona Kimo.
Too often, our competitors only look towards the new, the cutting edge, the improvable. But our company has endured by sticking to what works, advancing the applications of technologies rather than their designs. An individual such as yourself who grasps the value of that philosophy will no doubt fit right in. Furthermore, it appears that this fascination of yours belies a great love for learning about computerized devices. I would even expect you to be teaching our new recruits in a few months. Oh man, so we have the more potential for promotion, can make more money, right? It's a pretty ambitious endorsement, promising though, way more promising than you're used to.
Notisamini.
Computer science specialization. Okay. +2 technological literacy. Computer sciences. Anywho, I believe that concludes our questionnaire for today. As for your results, the man's enormous fingers crumble your CV into a ball and toss it aside. It bounces across the wire-laden floor, disappearing into an inky corner of the abyssal room. Your chest tightens. Panic swells. Catastrophic scenarios and thoughts of crushing failure explode through your head. Abuya's beaming smile diffuses them all.
Gawona Kimo.
To tell you the truth, this little meeting of ours was nothing more than a corporate mandated formality. Between your aunt's glowing recommendation and the fact that you showed up to our offices on such short notice, I knew from the start that I'd be wanting you on board. After this discussion, I'm pleased to announce that my hunch has been confirmed, and I am most pleased to be extending you a permanent employment offer. There's something there. Permanent. After this discussion, I'm pleased to announce that my hunch has been confirmed, and I am most pleased to be extending you a permanent employment offer. So, right before I got into that, the whole permanent employment, speaks to why the other guy was so afraid. Permanent employment. It's right there. Permanent. He's clearly mocking you, Pinch. He's clearly mocking you. Pinch yourself and awaken from this embarrassing dream. Hang on, you actually want to hire me? So, this we're actually going to say to him? We don't want to say that. Because that takes away from our confidence, right? The pinch hurts, but nothing more. Mr. Brigard clears his throat, and the baritone in his words is like a serenade from reality, finally acknowledging you as an honored guest.
Notice Amini.
No need to look so bewildered. It can't be the first time someone's been impressed by your skills. It
Gawona
is.
Kimo.
Our exchange has revealed that you're an incredibly resourceful and technological savvy individual, able to employ every tool at your disposal to its utmost potential. Whether faced with technical issues, a need for urgent repairs, or complex procedures involving Smyrna Corp devices, I have no doubt you'll be quick to adapt, thriving where others would flounder. There is a risk your focus on the cutting edge may cause you to lose sight of the human element in certain situations, but your addition to our ranks as a technician would be an unquestionable benefit.
Ajobonica.
So, would you deem my interpretation of your attitude accurate, or have I misconstrued the content of your character? You're 100% on point. That's exactly the kind of person yeah, we don't want to rework our skills. That's what I am. Flattered by Obuya's appraisal, you relish the satisfaction of having been truly seen. It's not every day you get such a precise, quantifiable breakdown of your unique abilities. May they serve you well in tackling the horrors to come. Oh my god. Good to know. Very good indeed. In that case, I'll nudge administration to start producing your contract. I'll unfortunately have to remain cagey about some details, such as workplace tasks or starting salary, until all legal hoopla has been sorted. But assuming you care to accept a generous starting offer, Mr. Brigard's chuckling deepens as he extends a massive hand, his blue eyes bright with joy, his tongue hungrily running over his pure white teeth.
Ajobonica.
Please allow me to informally welcome you as the newest member of Smyrna Corp. I look forward to reviewing your performance. Holy shit, it's actually happening! You're going to have a job. You're going to have money. Enough of it to pay rent, keep a roof over your head, eat food, anything. Fight the urge to cry and shake Mr. Brigard's hand. Fight the urge to cry. Fight the urge to cry. Ah, you cannot help but sniffle as you extend your hand, eyesight blurred by tears of sheer relief. Yeah, even through the weeping haze, you can still see the behemoth's grin spreading like a bird's unfurling wings. More specifically, those of a rapacious buzzard diving in to snatch a rodent with razor-sharp talons. Instincts urge you to pull away, but the behemoth's pounce comes too quickly. Before you can possibly react, your entire hand is engulfed with a fist the size of a ripe cantaloupe. Almost instantly, something begins feeling terribly, terribly wrong. Despite Mr. Brigard's pure white smile, it feels as though your new boss is trying to leave you crippled from the wrist down. Ugh. Knuckles crunch, folding in on each other. Metacarpals squeak and whine. Articular cartilage begins to between them both crumble into collagen sand. But all that pain is nothing next to the sharp, stabbing agony suddenly shooting through your palm. You cry out in pain, but beg Brigard to let go. Fight to pry your fingers free, but the giant's grip is iron and deaf to your complaints. If anything, he squeezes harder. The needle point pain inside your skin hand sinks even deeper, deep enough for you to think it might pierce the whole way through, deep enough for you to wonder if it could somehow kill you. Your jaw unhinges to let out a scream. Before a single sound comes through, Mr. Brigard lets you go free with an innocent sounding,
Kudo
"Oops,
Mijaji.
dearie me, I was a tad too firm there, wasn't I? Beg pardon, friend. I tend to forget my own strength sometimes." The tweed behemoth lets out an earnestly apologetic chuckle. You force yourself to chuckle back, but the laughter takes tremendous effort. It's hard to buy his excuse, no matter how believable it may be. Panicked, you palpitate your palm and numbed fingers, searching for any scars left by the thing that was drilling through your flesh. But there is no wound, no torn skin, no deep cuts, not even mild bruising. You don't even feel the pain anymore. All you find is a single bead of bright red blood, no bigger than a pinhead. You wipe it away, frantically seeking what lurks beneath. It is warm to the touch and leaves a scarlet smear across your skin, like a painter's brush. Yet there is no sign of where the paint has come from. No wound, no scar. There could be some swelling, but it's faint enough to make you suspect that the bulge isn't really there. Maybe, just maybe, it was all in your head. Investigate the swelling no matter how paranoid it might be. Yeah, we're gonna check this out. You press down hard with the tip of your thumb, searching for a lump of stiffness. Before you're sure you've spotted something, a clatter interrupts you. From one of the desk drawers, Mr. Brigard draws a slab of metal the size of a stovetop. At first, you assume it's a tablet device, custom built to fit the Tweed giant's fingers and resist their vice-like strength. Or perhaps a turntable meant for an aspiring DJ, painted in drab colors. A closer look reveals something older and chunkier, made of gray aluminum and solid beige plastics. Blinking buttons, flickable switches, knobs, and sliders of all kinds decorate its crowded surface in a cluttered interface too complex to grasp at a glance. It interrupted us from this. We need to see if we can check again if it'll give us an option later on. You recognize the machine from your studies in computer science. This is a video mixer, often used by TV stations to control input signals during live studio broadcasts. Obuya's model seems to be a refurbished antique from the 1970s, only compatible with televisions that are no longer produced today. Mr. Brigard bends over to grab heaping handfuls of wires off the messy floor. Seemingly at random, he sorts through a dozen of them at a time, plugging only a paltry few into the device's outlets.
Tome Baden.
Now that the pleasantries are finally done with, I suggest we proceed to the evaluation portion of our exchange. Aha, you were wondering when you'd get to this part. The behemoth appears taken aback by your expectant nod, but it is even more surprised by the nervousness your lousy poker face can't conceal. Though you were told to expect a test, you were also warned to be wary, and you're not particularly excited to find out what the machine has to do with it.
Ajobonica.
Come now, no need to get so agitated. I've already agreed to hire you. It's not like I'll be terminating your employment before your first probationary milestone.
Kudo Mijaji.
The format of this evaluation will be similar to our open-ended interview questionnaire, but this time I'll be presenting intentionally confusing scenarios that most Smirnocorp employees might encounter during their day-to-day tasks. Your goal is to present solutions to each particular problem as you deem appropriate, regardless of how unconventional the suggestion may seem. Yet again, there is no wrong answers, but I will tally your responses to determine how much supervision you'll require during onboarding. So the better we answer, the more freedom we'll have. If you want a text game, you can play Zork for free in browser these days. That it wasn't necessarily what I was like looking for. This is an invitation we got for to play the game and make create content. Um, not really something I actively ever look for. I know I recognize the name Zork, but it's not something like I sought out. But I am enjoying. This is really good. I've never played a game like this, honestly. Okay.
Tome baden.
In other words, I once more encourage honesty over making a good impression, for both our sakes. The behemoth flicks a larger switch upon his instrument dashboard. A low, droning, palpable hum fills the shadowy room. The light bulb hanging above you flickers, then goes dark, bathing the already dim room in a nigh absolute blackness. Only the device's glowing buttons, reflected in the two-way mirror, provide you with any light.
Kudo mijaji.
Shall we get started? Let's call the whole thing off, the record player begs you, over and over again. It seems to be stuck in place and skipping a few beats. Unfortunately, your body is also stuck in place, petrified in your plush chair, and your heart is skipping a few beats more. You give your sore hand a tight squeeze and hope the throbbing will stop soon. Let's do it. We're going in. Mr. Brigard chuckles, his teeth so white they almost glow in the dark. You hear him whisper a single word with a deep, bassy growl. Perfect. Your new boss's bratwurst thick fingers push one of the machine sliders to its absolute limit. The room's bassy hum increases in pitch and frequency.
Notisamini.
I'll start you off with an easy one. Let's say, hypothetically, that you're supervising a group of employees from a different company. They hired you to isolate the source of their decreased productivity, then remedy the issue. And it does not take long for you to identify the problem. One of their staff members is extremely troublesome. The giant pauses, uttering a tisk of irritation. It seems he wasn't supposed to specify this mystery employee's gender. When he speaks again, he enunciates slowly with more consideration.
Bonekaye.
This hypothetical individual has an undeniably inadequate productivity levels. They never meet bare minimum expectations. They lack punctuality, disrespect their colleagues, browse unsavory websites with company property. Instead of dedicating their limited work hours to completing overdue urgent paperwork, their misconduct is continuous and condemnable. I wonder if this is referring to the guy we replaced.
Kudo mijaji.
The employee has been given multiple warnings and provided with opportunities to improve their performance. Both have either failed or been ignored. The client is contemplating firing the problematic worker, but are concerned that becoming understaffed during an especially critical moment of the fiscal quarter could jeopardize their important deadlines. What do you think should be done to reestablish the client's baseline productivity? This is literally our situation. We're being brought in to replace this guy during a critical fiscal moment. That is hilarious. That's why saying he is a fuck up, because now we know it's the guy we replaced. So the person who came to the decision is our aunt. Our aunt is us in this scenario. And our aunt found... Oh, interesting. It took to install software on the computers that limits access to Oh, that's good. No silence. This person should be laid off regardless of deadlines. They harm more than they help. It took you so long to find a job. Firing someone would make you sick. Give them one more chance. I mean, this would be the way to go if we don't want to fire them, right? I'm gonna go with this one. I like it. If the employee is just compulsively texting and web surfing, why not cut the problem at the source? Most office networks limit access to undesirable content nowadays, so it can't be that hard to set up. Plus, it'll prevent future staffers from indulging the same habit. I'm all in for that. I like it. Though your internet-based solution might be complicated to implement in a workspace that relies on refurbished typewriters, Abuya's blue eyes bulge with admiration, his lips curling into an epiphanic ooh.
Ajobonica.
This is exactly why I keep telling upper management we need fresh thinkers in the office. The perspectives you bring to the table aren't limited by our old hat ideologies and are much more in tune with our planet's current digital landscape. That's why the upcoming deal with Radium Inc. won't just improve our technical infrastructure, it'll improve our technical literacy and technical imagination.
Noticeamini.
Furthermore, I love that the core of your strategy essentially relies on imposing discipline through ignorance and obfuscation, which are techniques Myrnacorp values dearly. After all, how can slaves ever think to disobey if they are only allowed to learn obedience? Wow, slaves. You're not sure you enjoy that comparison, yet, as if emphasizing his point, the giant fiddles with his antique device's myriad buttons and knobs in a series of complex operations. Obuya completes its complex mechanical operation with a flourish of flashing lights and a sequence of high-pitched beeping. The machine's noises are loud, but not startling, not compared to the other sound. It's faint at first, muffled, maybe distant, subtle enough to make you wonder if it's part of the record player's tune. But the longer you listen, the more unmistakable it becomes. I knew that sneeze was coming a mile away. Someone somewhere is screaming. Your nails dig into the armrest of your overly large leather seat. Your eyes dart about the room, searching for the noise's source before landing on the two-way mirror and your own aghast reflection. It's coming from across the glass. So the guy who's being let go is watching your interview. So the better you do, the more punished he gets? Oh my god. That's why he told me to fail. He would receive a lower punishment. You hold your breath and wait for the scream to rise up again, but there is only the record player's music. Music and the white noise buzz of Brigard's machine as he ahums you back to attention.
Ajobonica.
If you're in need of a restroom, I can point you in the right direction. Otherwise, I'd ask you to please complete this evaluation with a smidge less fidgeting. It negatively impacts our tool's acoustics, you see? It's like he didn't even hear it. Was the scream inside your head? Just like the pain in your hand from before? Or maybe... Pretend nothing happened. We're just gonna... We didn't hear. You hold your tongue, unwilling to disrupt the tool's acoustics any further. Besides, strange things have been happening ever since you set foot in this building, and everyone's been acting like it's completely normal. There's probably nothing wrong, right? Oh, there's something wrong, but... Babuya flips another switch. The room's buzzing shifts into a frequency so oddly low, you feel it sending ripples through your organs. The giant gestures your way with steepled fingers, further disturbing your unsettled guts.
Ajobonica.
Now, let's say, still hypothetically speaking, that our problem employee has a more specific shortcoming. He is utterly unwilling to cooperate with one of his coworkers. Perhaps it's a matter of long-standing interpersonal friction originating from external sources. Maybe there's an irreconcilable difference between them in terms of moral, political, or religious beliefs.
Gawona Kimo.
Regardless of the exact circumstances, our floundering staffer has proven themselves incapable of playing nice with their high-performing teammate, This has resulted in a severe decline in both their productivity levels. Knowing we cannot relocate the problem employee to a new department, nor displace their high-performing partner, how do we ensure the former collaborates with the latter, despite the deeply rooted discord between them? Ooh, okay. Yeah, see, we don't have the social. High performance doesn't prove innocence. Maybe the bad employee is being sabotaged. Success should be rewarded and failure punished. Fire the problem employee. I like this one. I like this answer. It's not uncommon for high-ranking staffers to throw colleagues under the bus, just to make themselves look good, and neither status nor seniority can excuse cruel behavior. It would be irresponsible to leap to the productive employee's defense before investigating impartially. You puff out your chest, proud of your well-worded statement and firm commitment to ethical justice. That pride instantly wanes when Abuya begins sneering. His smile narrows into a condescending slit as he adjusts his machine's specs.
Gimao hone.
You poor naive little thing. Before you assume me to be heartless, let me be understood that I agree with your thesis. The scenario you speak of is not uncommon, especially in this workplace.
Bone calle.
But to be completely frank, my chief concern is the office's productivity level, not the mental well-being of a consistently inept employee. Therefore, even if a staffer is behaving problematically, I'm willing to overlook minor offenses so long as they can meet a deadline. As for those their negligence affects, well, that part is rather unfortunate. Yes, but we have ways of making them forget anything untoward happened in the first place. Before you can ask the intruder what the hell he means, another sound reaches your ears. It's not a person's scream this time, but neither is it the vinyl's tune, nor a machine's hum. It resembles a dull, wet, rhythmic thud. Once, twice, thrice you hear it, a little louder every time. Your eyes dart about the room, looking for the noise's source. You find it staring back at you from across the two-way mirror. You see the handprint of a blood-stained palm slapping against the looking glass, begging to be let out. Your mouth goes dry as it hangs open. Your finger shakes as you start to point. Then, without word of warning, the thudding suddenly stops. All that remains is silence and a message written in scarlet smears. A cry for help no one can answer. Abuya looks over his shoulder, seeing the red stain. You wait for him to react, to gasp, or even scream. All he does is harumph at it, annoyed.
Bone calle.
I really need to put more pressure on that janitor. The soundproofing in here has been unacceptable as of late. With more grouchy grumblings, he tweaks a couple of his device's knobs as if nothing happened. Then, noticing your aghast expression, he furrows his brow. Not with concern, but confusion.
Notice amini.
Is something the matter? Shake your head. You must be relieved. What's going on back there? What kind of evaluation is this? We have to ask it at some point, right? I don't want, because this is a question. This is part of the thing, right? The more we're willing to just overlook things. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. I won't overlook it. You wipe the sweat from your brow and try to control your breathing. You tell Mr. Brigard it seems to be the air down here, making you lightheaded. It feels like you keep seeing things. But none of this can be real. Can't be.
Gawo na kimo.
Wonderful. I'm thrilled you're willing to be so cooperative despite these distractions. Now, regarding the conclusion of our conjectural conundrum.
Kudo mijaji.
Let's say, and I cannot stress this enough, that our aforementioned staffer is hypothetically assigned to contain a major data breach, one with consequences that could spell disaster for their company and co-workers alike. The sensitive nature of this task requires them to exterminate or indefinitely debilitate any individuals who have witnessed this leaked information, so that they become incapable of further dissemination. In this case, the information has only been accessed by two people: the employee's spouse and their prepubescent offspring. Oh, shit.
No tesamini.
Needless to say, our employee is reluctant to perform their duty and exterminate these individuals. However, if either family member remains alive, the company stands to lose everything. Furthermore, should they refuse to tie up these proverbial loose ends, you will be required to do so in their place, as outlined in your Smirnikov contract. In short, how do you ensure these targets perish as intended and that this data breach remains contained regardless of this problematic employee's hesitation? We're murderers now. If it really is a matter of life and death, you'd kill those people yourself. Beg the employee to go through with it. Killing those two people could save hundreds. No one should kill their family to bury company secrets. There has to be a better way. I mean, and that the Madam Breach remains contained. In this case, it kind of sounds like they just really want us to kill people. Holy hell, man. Security protocol prevents. We would have to. The answer is like, how are we going to stop them from disseminating the information, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the answer. I don't have a better answer. The human body is a fragile thing. All it takes to break one is a perfectly mundane accident. Choking on food, tripping on an awkward angle, a well-placed blade or needle in an undesirable area. You, meanwhile, are stronger than average, strong enough to make such accidents happen with relative ease. Your stomach audibly churns as you visualize ending a child's life in increasingly vivid detail. Mr. Brigard, meanwhile, guffaws with approval, his machine purring like a pleased tiger as he flicks its myriad switches.
No tesamini.
As much as I approve of your commitment to getting the job done, I can assure you it's unlikely for such measures to become necessary. Unless you absolutely want to get hands-on, that is. We prefer to rely on as much on our in-house exterminators whenever possible. Less margin for error and all that. Plus, if we're going to build those exterminators for dirty work, we may as well give them some, especially when they're much more efficient at it than you'll ever be, no matter how impressive your physical health is. Before you can ask the giant if he plans to send those exterminators after you, his strange device suddenly starts moaning. Its monitor finally displaying your evaluations tallied results.
Ajumbonica.
Well, this is genuinely impressive. I had high hopes for you, but this exceeds even those anticipations by considerable leaps and bounds. Most of our employees need months, if not years, of training to properly optimize our procedures, while foregoing all ethical concerns. For you to demonstrate such dedication to efficiency without need for orienteering, that tells me that you're destined to accomplish great, terrible things at this company. Why? I barely had to make adjustments to your doppelganger engineering suggestions. Whatever that is. Doppelganger, unfazed by your panic or bafflement, Mr. Brigard reaches for a nearby candlestick phone. The mouthpiece, realistically macabre roosting bath design, makes it seem like it's clutching a live pipistrelle. I don't know what that is. And shoving it against the cavern that is his giant mouth.
Notice a mini.
We're done here. You can show them now. On the other end of the line, a reply is chirped. Obuya hands you the phone and motions you to listen in. His pure white smile looks wide enough to tear his cheeks at the seams. Except the phone. You gingerly seize the occult antique. It takes you a few tries to grasp how the winged mammal is meant to be held, and even longer to hold the earpiece to your head. By the time you figured it out, you wish that you hadn't. The two-way glass at the back suddenly turns transparent, revealing yet another room filled with aesthetic contraptions and logical anomalies. Your first urge is to scream, but your voice makes no sound. Perhaps your cries are deafened by whatever the fuck is going on. You stand before what seems to be a hospital operating room. Its walls are adorned with a mix of dark wood panels and mounted stag heads, bathed in a sterile glow of circular fluorescent lamps. At the far back, you see the silhouette of two surgeons, toiling away behind a curtain, carving apart the skulls of their fully conscious, unsedated patients. You want to look away, but you can't even blink. There's just too much to take in. There's the patients themselves. They almost look like twins. Both have been tied down with belts to their respective surgical tables. Both are men with tan skin, furrowed brows, and bloodshot stares. Both have the tops of their heads partially concealed by curtains, where the surgeon's silhouettes prod their scalps with forceps. Only one of them is screaming, as though death would be a mercy. This is the guy we talked to and his doppelganger. There's the surgeon's tools. Blood-stained aprons hang from wooden coat racks, while stainless steel surgical trays contain an assortment of gruesome devices. Bone saws, hand crank drills, and strangely hairy, bone-white bowls glisten with dark red. Your stomach gurgles upon realizing they are sliced off tops of human skulls. There's the television hanging from the ceiling. Boxy Technicolor units have been suspended above each patient's heads. Their crackling screens blast them with an unrelenting montage of childhood videotape footage, warbled ECG readouts, brain scans, and news network broadcasts. Each man's eyelids are held open by metallic speculums, denying them the privilege of looking away. And there's the woman taking notes. She stands with her back to you, jotting down observations on a clipboard as she studies each victim's distinct reactions. Though her shoulders are shaking, she writes with a steady hand. The muffled sounds of saws slicing through bone threaten to make you throw up, but instead you feel your heart sink deep into that pit of nausea and realize something truly chilling. You recognize two of the people in that room. The clipboard lady, is that our aunt? It's going to be our aunt. I know who the screaming patient is. I don't care about him. Sensing your stomach through the glass, the woman turns around. Details leap out one at a time, making the pit in your stomach sink even deeper. A black turtleneck, a hair bun, a tight smile spread too far wide. Oh, it's the receptionist. Okay. Exhausted eyes, bulging, and bloodshot pupils shrunk to tiny pinpricks. Melusine. After Emiliano attacked you, you believed the man was insane. But now watching that receptionist smile without blinking, tears bringing in her eyes and bloodstains wetting her clothes, Aguilar's mental breakdown makes more sense to you than ever. As if to prove your point, the loudest of the two patients screams at you for
Ame
help.
Temoku.
You, please! Tell them I'll change! Tell them I'll do better! Just don't let them replace me! Melusine, I'm begging you. You can't do this to me. I have a His words are cut off by gurgling spasms, eyes rolling back into their sockets as the surgeon's silhouette behind him cuts something inside his head. Blood and brain matter splatter the curtain, hiding the worst of the scene, but sounds of squelching meat and bones still carry over the receiver. Yet it's the other calmer patient's voice that truly makes you nauseous. He doesn't just look like Emiliano, he sounds like him. Exactly like him.
Bonematiku.
You, please tell them I'll change. Tell them I'll do better. Just don't let them replace me. The lookalike's face remains impassive, even as his exposed brain is prodded at with a hand crank drill. Yet the imitation of his neighbor's blood-curling cries is perfect. Every nuance, every pause for breath reenacted down to the finest detail. Better than any audio recording you could ever imagine. More immaculate, a simulacra, than any man or machine should ever be capable of. It's so perfect, in fact, that you're no longer certain which is the real Emiliano.
Kimaletoba.
Hey, Melusine, how was that? Am I laying the accent on too thick?
Kojo basoda.
It seems fine to me, but I'd recommend letting your voice crack once in a while. It's been known to happen when Mr. Aguilar is heavily inebriated, and considering his drinking disposition, that particular nuance will come up quite frequently.
Ame Temoku.
Gotcha, I'll give it another go. Hey, pal, can you give me some fresh material to rehearse?
Zutenafoi.
You're all a bunch of psychos! Motherfucking heartless psychos! Emiliano sobs and howls himself raw, retching as the surgeon's hacking his cerebellum induces full body spasms. The other Emiliano merely clears his throat, before howling much the same.
Zutenafoi.
You're all a bunch of psychos! Motherfucking heartless psychos!
Ame Temoku.
How about that? Bit better?
Bunipova.
Considerably. I'll notify the post-op technicians to implement a few more speech impediment-inducing memories and apply brain damage relative to Mr. Aguilar's alcoholism. That should iron out the last neurophysical kinks. The other Emiliano gives a firm thumbs up, leaning back to enjoy his lobotomy with the lackadaisy indulgence of an expert barber's scalp massage. Melusine turns to face the glass, her wide smile pulled painfully taut. She looks at you with tears and mascara streaking down her face, her grin seeming to cause more pain than either patient's cerebral
Look at
surgery.
me.
Was there anything else you needed to see, Mr. Brigard?
Ajobonica.
No, thank you, dear. That'll be all. Just wanted our new hire to get a better idea of the daily grind. Oh, but do let me know if we need to make adjustments to mediatic nutrition. Will you? I'll be on standby. With a curt nod, the receptionist turns her back. You hear a click, then a dial tone, and the phone's ceaseless screaming abruptly cuts off. Across the glass, Emiliano thrashes with all his might, the sound of his screeching muted once again.
Note samedi.
Still, what do you think? This is a madhouse. Sprint for the elevator and escape. But not gonna run. That's a bad idea. Mr. Brigard flinches as you let out an anguished scream, but he doesn't seem startled, let alone afraid. You mostly get the impression that he's baffled by the sheer stupidity of your question. He repeats it slowly, as though making sure he heard correctly.
Note samedi.
What we're doing? Why, what we always do here at Smyrna Corp, of course. We're replacing problem members of society with custom-trained, lab-raised actors that will live more efficient lives in our targets' places. It's our company's foolproof, flawless, and highly exclusive human resource solution.
Gawona Kimo.
And what's more, we've performed today's processes all according to your specifications. Your specifications? You had nothing to do with this. I'm perturbed by your protests, regard motions to the silhouetted surgeons currently picking at both Emiliano's wet and naked craniums.
Tome Baden.
First, as standard procedure, we have our doppelgangers undergo extensive surgeries. This ensures their size and appearance matches their target. However, we also perform highly precise neural excisions and hormonal dosing sessions to ensure both replacement and replacee have identical synaptic pathways. This means they'll share the same tastes, reflexes, and handicaps wherever applicable.
Gawona Kimo.
Furthermore, as per your suggestion, I've encouraged our surgeons to physically excise all sections of the brain unrelated to workplace performance. I knew it! I'm not entirely sure if that's how those so-called firewalls are supposed to work for computers, but either way, our doppelgangers should only know obedience and thus never disobey. After completing his bleak announcement with a showman's tone, the giant points to the device on his desk. Its myriad cables run along the floor and worm their way through slits in the two-way glass, connecting to the flashing televisions hanging above the patient's faces.
Gawona Kimo.
Next, we bombard our subjects with doctored historical information and falsified childhood memory footage to rewrite their lived experiences. This will erase problematic attitudes and induce more desirable
Kudo
proclivities.
Mijaji.
As you can tell, the process is rather unpleasant for the original Aguilar, who is experiencing the unraveling of his own identity in real time. But remember, his suffering is inconsequential next to the heightened performance of his superior colleague. Besides, if done right, neither Emiliano will even remember this. An emphatic flourish, Shibuya tweaks another one of his machine's knobs. A television flickers, replacing its gruesome slideshow of warfare footage with pictures of a pastoral farm. The louder Emiliano squirms, then screeches. Finally, the tweed behemoth nods to Melusine, whose eyes glance between both her patients, taking notes whenever one of them imitates the other. The two are becoming increasingly impossible
Kudo
to tell apart.
Mijaji.
Last but not least, Miss Saint Sains arguably has the most important task of all: quality assurance. You see, our procedure is human, not mechanical. Instinct trumps algorithms when it comes to understanding people. Thus, it's imperative for staffers with an eye for social cues to study the effects of non-sedated lobotomies, particularly during back-and-forth exchanges between target and replacement. This allows us to adjust mediatic nutrition quickly and to identify overlooked flaws in body language, voice modulation, or personality. All this ensures our doppelgangers perform their jobs correctly.
Kudo Mijaji.
Which is why I've also taken inspiration from your commitment to sorting this whole family murdering business. Melusine has been encouraged to wipe out any trace of bloodshed-related hesitation we'd normally keep vestigial remnants of. I assume this is to be appropriate, since your answers implied corporate results matter more than human lives. Oh my god. Holy shit, he wasn't lying. You may not have pulled the trigger, but you did help him load the gun. As you reel from the weight of revelation, Obuya holds up 3 fingers. One by one, he curls them down.
Tome Baden.
Physical rewiring, psychological reconditioning, social integration. These are the pillars upon which Simnacore substitution services are built. This is how we guarantee that the tens of thousands of doppelgangers currently deployed to the public perform exactly as they must. It's how our company has controlled the course of human civilization for years upon years, steering it in whatever direction our executives deem right. It's how the right people have shown up at the right times at the right places. How the wrong items or ideas have never appeared at inopportune occasions. And it's how you will help us do our job, regardless of which department you are ultimately assigned to.
Note Samini.
So, are there any further questions about your new job's responsibilities? The only logical explanation is that why didn't my aunt tell me about this? The only logical explanation is that she didn't know this kind of insanity was occurring at her workplace. After all, the woman can definitely be a little heartless, but she wouldn't stoop to getting you a job torturing people just to get her rent money. Would she? And the question then becomes, is she really our actual aunt, or is she a replacement? Is she a doppelganger?
Kudo mijaji.
Oh, I'm afraid your aunt was very aware of the procedures we conduct here. She's undergone one herself, after all. It's part of what makes her such an exceptional recruiter. But please, don't resent her for keeping such sensitive information confidential. To borrow an expression, we have many fingers shoved quite deep into a surprising amount of pies. The tweed behemoth spreads his arms, taking up a dramatic stance. His muscular limbs cast a vast, all-consuming shadow, much like the one his company must cast over the world.
Gawona kimo.
Societies, you see, are merely sets of rules meant to control select populaces. Enforced by means of moral codes and legislative threats, histories are not but narratives parading as objective fact, deterministically controlling the future by redefining the past. Economies are broad equations engineered to establish hierarchies and restrict freedoms indirectly. Our missive is to alter the evolution of all these entities everywhere in the world for the betterment of our species. This can mean overturning governments with silent revolutions, establishing or destroying businesses to reroute their flow of wealth, even altering history in ways that force us to reinterpret the present.
Gawona kimo.
All the world's a stage, men and women merely players, but Smirnocorp is the playwright, casting every actor's role. Today your role has been decided too, and if you care to keep a roof over your head, you should refrain from delivering a disappointing performance. So he already knew all about us. The giant's index finger prods your chest as he speaks. Each tap is like a bullet thudding against a Kevlar vest. Across the mirror, Emiliano screams as though he's felt those gunshots too. His cries an ode to the dark future which awaits you. A future of perpetual, inescapable servitude. That's why he said permanent employment. Abuya's right. You need money. Agree to work here until you're saved enough to quit. We're doing it. We're gonna be an evil bastard. The thought of helping these monsters makes you sick, but turning down the offer means you'll end up on the street. Thus, you promise Brigard to work and do better than Emiliano. For now.
Note samedi.
Wonderful, but be advised, you'll need to perform very well for a very long time if you intend your time with us to be temporary. After all, we've already signed our first contract, and its strictest clauses do not expire anytime soon. The man's pale eyes drift toward your hand, the one he shook that you thought was bleeding. Looking at your palm, you realize the hunch was fully justified, because something did pierce it. There's a lump beneath the skin, a small, subtle, rectangular protrusion you hadn't noticed until now. Probably because it wasn't flashing, let alone making such an obnoxious sound. Ooh.
Tome baden.
This, my friend, is what we refer to as a non-disclosure microchip. A brand new addition to our confidentiality policy, specifically designed by our future partners at Radium Inc. It serves as an ID to access our offices, but also as an employee loyalty failsafe. Should you ever emit brain activity associated with treason, unauthorized divulsion of confidential data, or any such nasty business, the chip will emit a warning signal. Should the warning go unheeded, a lethal dose of borodinium-210 will be discharged, a nigh intraceable radiotoxic isotope, capable of inducing total organ shutdown within seconds.
Gawona kimo.
In other words, lest you care to experience a particular messy demise, I suggest you remain on your best behavior until you die of natural causes. Non-disclosure microchip. Yay. The microchip starts beeping faster till it matches the demented tempo of your heart, of your beating heart. No telling which of the two is about to explode first. The signal is interrupted by Mr. Brigard's tisking as he checks his
Tome
belt-sized watch.
baden.
Dear me, seems like I lost track of time. Other appointments beckon. I'm afraid our meeting is at an end. You'd best return home and get plenty of rest. You'll need it for your onboarding.
Kudo mijaji.
Oh, and please don't consider suicide as a solution to prematurely terminating your employment. I'm well aware of your unfortunate mental health diagnoses, but I'd be ever so unhappy to see such a predictable scenario come to pass, especially since we'd just be wasting time replacing you with a doppelganger or otherwise. I recommend you try enjoying this, if you can. Your moral crises and panic attacks should be like water, running off the proverbial duck's back. As Abuya chuckles, an elevator... I made myself drink in the middle of a sentence. Like, think about it. Like, who does that? Abuya chuckles, an elevator door screeches open behind you. The open shaft greets you like the gaping maw of a deep-sea fish. You glance between the open doors and your manager, wondering if it's really safe to leave. But by the time the behemoth gives you a cheeky wink, you're making a run for it. Your fingers mash every single button of the keypad's confusing display, hoping some combination of keys will get you out as fast as possible. Eventually, the grillage slams shut, the floor lurches upward, and Mr. Brigard waves goodbye, speaking the most chilling words you've heard all
Gawo
day.
nakimo.
See you tomorrow. The microchip's alarm slows to a crawl as your hopes and dreams die a slow, whimpering death. Congratulations, you're hired! The nervous breakdown. Okay, we're gonna call it here. Damn, this is really good. I'm gonna definitely be playing more of this. Absolutely.